If you are really into the Pablo Torre series on the Clippers scandal, this video is for you. So this is a breakdown of the fourth video in the series. First, we had the Kawhi Leonard no-show contract video that set everything in motion. Then we have the bonus episode with Mark Cuban. Then we have the Dennis Wong payment. And then we have what is now the Clippers sending more cash to Aspiration. So let's break down this episode really just comes down to all of the money that the Clippers were putting into Aspiration. So it starts off with September of 2021. We've got Steve Ballmer, investing $50 million at $11 a share. I say $11 a share because that becomes relevant in a moment. In April of 2022, we have the Clippers first paying $3 million in carbon credits on April 1st. And then on April 4th, we have Kawhi signing the $28 million contract with Aspiration. That later adds in an additional $20 million in stock options, or later it comes out that that was added. On April 4th, we have the Clippers wiring over $32 million for carbon credits. And then on June 2022, June 14th, we have the Clippers purchasing another nearly $21 million in carbon credit. That's a lot of trees. And then on June 30th, we have the Kawhi payment coming due. This was the first payment, and of this was $1.75 million. And then looking at the fall of 2022 to the spring of 2023, here we have an overall context is that Aspiration from 2019 to 2022 is losing $772.5 million. And we have 19 outside investment firms turn down Aspiration. I think this was over a time span. We also have 3 senior executives state that the Kawhi deal was a completed arrangement, and they had objected to it. And this is on the record. So I think here we have Pablo. Pablo has the names of the people that actually state this. And then in December 2022, we have so Aspiration was set to be a merger with Interprivate. And 90% of the shareholders bailed on that merger, so they sold off their shares. In December of 2022, we also have Dennis Wong's LLC investing $1.99 million into the company. And this is his first ever, and as far as I can tell, his only investment in the company, and he is the only new outside investor. And then we have December 15th, where Kawhi's second payment of $1.75 million is completed. So Kawhi gets paid, and that is 9 days after Dennis Wong's investment. And then in March 2023, we have Ballmer's LLC investing just under $10 million. Note the dollar amount is $2.08 below $10 million. But what's really interesting is that Steve Ballmer buys in at $23 a share. So this is more than double of his original stock price, share price. And then this is despite the fact that that Aspiration has to have disclosures. So it's not as if these documents are provided that state the financial state of Aspiration. So Steve Ballmer makes this investment anyway. And then in March of 2023, we have another Kawhi Leonard payment due. And then so there's a total investment here of $118 million from the Clippers ownership over 18 months. So to recap all of the payments, we have Steve Ballmer initially investing $50 million. We have the Clippers purchasing $3 million in carbon credits. We have the Clippers purchasing $32 million in carbon credits. And then we have the Clippers purchasing $21 million in carbon credits. And then in December 22, we have Dennis Wong's LLC investing $2 million. And then in March of 2023, we have Steve Ballmer's LLC investing another $10 million. So for that's a total of $118 million. And Pablo had this information, waited on it, had Mark Cuban state that if the Clippers were involved in this, then they would have put more money in. And then he releases this episode where we can see that the Clippers have put in a significant amount of money. Another relevant note, is that the carbon credits were purchased for the Intuit Dome, which was not opening until August 2024. So if you look at the dates on those carbon credit purchases, we have $3 million, and we have $32 million, and we have $21 million in carbon credits, and the Intuit Dome is not even open yet. Now, I don't know what the timing of carbon credits looks like, but obviously here it raises suspicion when you have so much initial money prepaid before the deliverable is ever going to be delivered. So this was a fairly straightforward episode. It's really just about looking at the timeline, looking at all of the payments that are being made, and then here we have Pablo setting a trap and it was for Mark Cuban, who lays out these payments, and then we see Pablo stating, well, he at the beginning of the podcast he says, well, I followed Mark Cuban's advice, and then there's this. And so he shows all of these payments. So it does, this adds another layer to the Clipper scandal, because why are you purchasing all of these carbon credits, right? You could purchase some, right? The $3 million, that could make sense. But to continually purchase carbon credits when when the Intuit Dome is not finished, that's going to raise questions as to why did you keep? I mean, could you have not purchased carbon credits later? And then we have Steve Ballmer investing $50 million initially. This one's really hard to. This one would be really hard to answer. It's like, why did you initially invest 50 million, and then you come back and invest 10 million more, but in this additional 10 million, you purchase at over double the share price that you originally got, and that was before it was known in March of 2023. It was known that Aspiration was having serious financial difficulty, and that's going to be in the disclosure. So then it's like, well, Steve, why did you go ahead and invest this $10 million in March of 2023? I also think it's interesting the dollar amounts. We've seen multiple dollar amounts where they're just below the milestone threshold. So in the case of Steve Ballmer, I think it was $2.08 below $10 million. I think the same thing happened with Steve Wong, where it was just below $2 million as well. So that's really the takeaway from this episode. I will include a link to the episode in the description. So we will end this right here. If there are any updates, I will include those in the description.